Hey, do you ever feel like women treat you like crap? Women, when you're out and about, they won't look at you or they don't respect you like you have feelings or emotions or something. You know, as a guy that this is going on out in the world, there's this polarity shift from how it used to be. Well, I'm going to address this question today here on Core Confidence. Hey guys, David here with Core Confidence, and got a question from a guy today. Here I am, a little bit sick in the winter with my hat on, so this is how I'm rolling today. Questions at the kitchen table, okay? So here's the question, and Nishan asks, there's been a fundamental shift in attitudes between men and women, a polarity shift, if you will. Women treat men like we are not important, like we don't have feelings or a heart. They keep scratching their heads, wondering why men don't want to have anything to do with them. Have you noticed what I'm referring to? Thank you for all you do in helping bringing men and women together. Okay, so great question, Nishan. And what you're referring to here is there's a lot of talk out there on the web. There's something called the manosphere and red pill and MGTOW and all this stuff I'm aware of that talks about a lot of this stuff. And there's a lot of, I think there's truth to this stuff, but we also have to take it with a grain of salt, because our minds are powerful and our beliefs create our reality. And does this go on more than it used to in certain ways? Yes. Feminism has brought that out in certain ways, for sure. But this, don't treat like men like we have feelings or a heart. I think that, women treat men they don't care about like that if they care about the man, right? Which we can talk about value and how that works and male-female dynamics. I have experienced that many a time. I have experienced women that do care, but it's also because there's something in it for them, pretty much. That's how human relationships work for the most part, right? There's a lot of mythology and crap around love and all this stuff, I think. And not that there's not something to having experiences of love between human beings, but it gets over-romanticized for consumeristic reasons and stuff that can get us into a whole heap of trouble as men, especially when we talk about marriage and love and marriage and just the situations that I've never personally been in. I've avoided because I've seen all that and not wanted. That's never been really for me, marriage, but friends that I have that are going through divorces, one that I have going through now that is very costly, both emotionally and financially. It's just crazy. So, and I could tell stories for days and days. Now, there are some people that do succeed with that, okay? So a little bit of a tangent, but are women scratching their heads? I mean, yeah, I can see that going on for sure. The thing is kind of looking at, it's easy to listen to all this other, there's a lot of the men's rights stuff out there that's really angry. It's like, it's like the opposite of, it's like the reaction to feminism. That's how feminism has gotten and used to be, and now feminism's more mainstream, and now men's rights is here. Dude, you have to look at also, like, I'm gonna guess that you're involved in some of that stuff with what you're asking. That's my guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, comment or whatever. But you gotta look, are those people happy? Like overall? Because is there reality to what they're saying? Yeah, but we have to deal with it, and then we get to choose ultimately how we want to live and if we want to interact with women or not, right? I watched a bunch of those videos and once I started getting super angry and fuck that, and it's like, but I also know that there are a lot of people that get there. Most women I know aren't feminists at all. I don't think most women are feminists fundamentally. They're not feminists. And they would qualify themselves. I'm not a feminist. Women I know aren't, that are my friends. I'm not going to date one, a feminist right away, like a hardcore feminist. Originally feminism wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's turned into this man-hating thing. It definitely has. To this, what is it, andrist? Misogynist and andrist, right? Andrist or not androgynous. Misogynist is women hating and andrist is man hating, right? A lot of that stuff goes on. Absolutely. And so, yeah, I've noticed it. And I think, a solution is, I don't know what the solution is, but I know how I want to live, and I want to engage and be in relationships and sexual relationships and friendships with women, right? And this is stuff we have to navigate, especially when we get into sexual romantic relationships with women. It can get harsh and cold for men. All of a sudden, a woman doesn't feel anything for a man and she's leaving him in the dust, right? Now, men can do it too. But, what I found is that, and one of my friends said this to me years ago, and it stuck with me, and then I really started to take a look over the years, is that we as men are actually not nearly as emotionally resilient when it comes to this stuff as women are. Women are even though women are more emotionally expressive about it, they're actually tougher emotionally, which seems contradictory in a way, but it's actually not, because they're used to dealing with their emotions, like, and then they're on to the next thing and whatever, and they deal and feel with them. Whereas we as men repress them, and it's also not attractive fundamentally for a man to be emotionally out of control. It's not unattractive for a woman, or it's not attractive for a woman to be emotionally out of control if she's totally crazy. But we all know it's societally acceptable for a woman to cry and stuff in public. Oh, she's crying, okay. But if a man does it, fuck, he's a pussy. And now there's all these movements that say men didn't need to express their feelings more and all this stuff, right? But on a biological level, a man being shown as weaker like that, it's not that. Okay, it's okay to do it, but you will not be seen as an attractive man, guaranteed, if you do it in a public situation, unless you're the top leader, alpha guy of that group, doing it in a certain context. If you bust out into tears or I bust out into tears like a woman does at a bar, oh, dude, unless it's like somebody died in our family. But a woman can cry about anything. And it's like, okay, she's just expressing her feminine emotions. And, I'm kind of because sometimes this riles me up too, but that's the way it is. And so we have to work with what is and what we want. So I'll ask you, what do you want? Do you want to date women and see women or not? Because there are ways to find out how. If a woman is acting like that to me, I'll probably challenge her like, oh, you're so tough, huh? You're like a tough girl, huh? I don't care. I'll mess with her. Because there's another one who's not going to be tough, or she might open up, or there's going to be a lot of there's sweet women out there. There's plenty of sweet women out there. So you also have to watch and look at how you're shaping your reality if you're constantly focusing on certain elements of reality, right? Again, I'm not saying that there aren't things to all this discussion here, that all these points that I'm drawing out, that I'm talking about these other communities I've learned from. But ultimately, what we focus on expands, right? And I remember seeing a video for one of these, I don't know if it was the men's rights or MGTOW. By the way, if you know MGTOW, MGTO stands for men going their own way, which in a way, I could be considered that just by the nature of my lifestyle, even though I don't subscribe to that belief methodology, whatever. But this guy is complaining about how women won't look at him and all this. And he's making this video in his truck, and he looks like shit. He's dressed like shit. His hair is shit, and he's got a bad vibe. Dude, I don't want to look at you, okay? I don't fucking want to look at you either, and I don't want to see you whine and fucking complain. So deal with that, because if you see a fat, ugly, poorly dressed, scruggly-haired woman, are you going to give her the time of day? Now, here's the thing. I might look and acknowledge, and maybe he's talking about that, but, dude, fucking reality check yourself. And this isn't the subscriber, by the way. I'm talking about a video I saw of this guy, right? And so we have to take responsibility for how we present ourselves, how we dress, how we look, because that matters, right? We are a superficial and imagistic society in many ways. We're also more than that, and there are communities out there and people have depth to them, right? I appreciate and enjoy depth. I have circles of friends that have depth. I don't hang around people that are superficial. A little bit here and there, but ultimately not my close friends. So there's this sense of entitlement that can go on with this. And I don't think that you're there with this, but you might be risking going towards, I'm entitled to something. Because if we look over the history of time, there's this whole theory of male disposability that's come out of this stuff, which makes a lot of fucking sense. Cussing a lot in this one, that the males are disposable, right? Women and children first, that's just the way things should go. But there's nothing that says that other than maybe there's, it became a social order to preserve, biologically in a way, if you think about it, to preserve the next generation, because who's going to take care of the kids more? The women, most likely. But there's nothing that says that the women should, or the men should die first, and the men go off to war and all this, right? And then you have, well, everybody should be fighting in the wars, and men and women equally. Okay, well, yeah, but is that really how it's set up? Like biologically, that the men are physically stronger and that we're all equal and all this stuff? Like it's more equal than ever, and that's great. But let's do that. Let's make it mandatory. I guess we could, because I think in Israel, there's mandatory military service. When I lived in New York, I went on a couple dates and made out with an Israeli girl who was a horrible kisser. She was cute, but she's horrible. She's very aggressive. But she was in the Israeli military, required, so that's cool. Maybe they're right, but some people say, well, that women are more apt for certain jobs than men. Overall, maybe it's not true. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out here, man. I have a little fear of being seen as a misogynist here, but fuck it, who gives a shit? Because women aren't ultimately attracted to feminist men, and I'm definitely not one of those motherfuckers. So, and I know you're not too. So take everything with a grain of salt. Decide for yourself ultimately in what you want and base it around that. Yes, there are certain things we have to do with reality, but there are multiple solutions for everything, my friend. So consider all that. This video's gone on longer than I wanted. I've been ranty today, a little bit ranting, but I hope that helps. And until next video, we're done. See you later. Peace.